Okay, coming in the west entrance here. Now we're going to do the old, or the new building first. And we're going to go clockwise on this one. We come in, see our glass break. We have our Honeywell panel for our alarm. And we come in and we have our first office here. And this they call the OT office. So a pretty uneventful office. See, they pulled a lot of cable for the computers and that through here. And again, we are here just in the foyer again. We come across to here, come across straight through. And this one was the psychiatrist office. And it's rather interesting. I'm not sure what was covered here, but we have these padded shades, and the cranks have been removed for the windows and that. These are like gym mats, and they can be locked in place. And we see, too many outlet covers in that to mention. You're going to need to, because we have in so many places other items to be taken care of on electric, and just buy those by the case. So we're going to try and see if we can find out what those other mechanicals are. We come here and we have these 3 doors here. Behind each one is a carrier for the Maker DX furnace. This does northwest offices, and then this multi-purpose room we're in is split between east and west side. Heat in here. And then this they call the multi-purpose room closet. It had some big pieces of equipment sitting on it, and maybe servers, because we have so much coming out here. We also have the test valve for the fire extinguisher. But whatever was coming in here, we seem to have a lot of ventilation for a small room. So, that's here. This is the south entrance. Those are classrooms out over there. So our multi-purpose room, you see, has a movable wall to put in there.
No, you just took it out of your pocket. Oh, you can't.
And there was a fireplace here.
What did that happen, man? I don't know.
So we come out the multi-purpose room. Again, here's the hallway and our main entrance. We come over here and we're at the kitchen. So we see our kitchen here. Dishwasher, which is not installed properly, but stove had been there. Microwave. From our kitchen, we have another room here. This room they called the nurse's office. And here we did take a tape sample. It does appear we have some mold net coming through the wall here. Where that leak might be, moisture might be coming from is hard to determine at this point. Although this area is, well, not quite under that. There's actually the clay tile roof above this. So this is our nurse's office. When we come through here, it's interesting, it says to employees only, but the receptionist signs still point to go this way. And it says, please proceed to main office. Doesn't really say what our main office is. We get here, and no power here. This is the speech therapist office. It has a gas fireplace. And that there. It's one of the few rooms still had a window air conditioner in it. We're not sure why, but there's also a string of extension cords kind of tacked in around this mantle and that to get from one side to the other. We have a gas log set right there. I'm back out of here. Now, once we got to that speech therapist's office, we are now in our main building, original building. I'm not sure how we're going to call it. And one of the interesting things here, and I think you can tell from the archway here, is that this used to be much wider, open much wider, and that, and we go through till we get to those double doors, and then we go into the new section. But it's hard to determine, you know, what the original floor plan was. I would think that this was a big open area. This is really difficult to figure out. This had a push to exit button and a controlled door opener on top of there. So it appears that the timeout room they actually got kind of locked into. As you can see here, the door's been removed, but laminate floor over this concrete floor. We have just panels on the wall. Even the lighting's been covered so that you can't get to it. It's got metal screening over it. This presumably vent is also covered with an expanded metal cloth. So it looks as though the timeout room, because this door swung in, so the only way you could unlock it is from outside. So it almost appears as though the kids were put in there. When we get to the men's room, now unfortunately the lights don't work in here. But we see we have a couple of sinks here and an air dryer. Two urinals with broken tile there, and by the two holes there, so they probably put an air freshener or something there at one time. Our floor is not in too bad a shape. And then we have one handicap stall. This was all in working condition, except for the lights. And here we come over, and we're still in the old building. Well, that's interesting. It's the first time I've seen a spider pop out of a drinking fountain like that. We come into the ladies' restroom. So we have two stalls here, one handicap, one regular. We have no water going to this toilet, and you can see it's all dried out. Everything's evaporated in that. This one is working. And we see a little bit of bad grout in that in some of the corners, but overall this one's not too bad. Come over to here. And this is called the janitor's closet. Now this must be on test. This pump up here is running. That has something to do with our sprinkler system here. So I'm sure it cycles, it keeps pressure on a regular timing there. Is there a mop sink there? We determined this is all fiberglass insulation on these pipes in here, not asbestos. We see our two Lennox furnaces. We will close them back up and test them soon. We see our filters up on top. And it looks like we have an entire case of filters sitting down here. Wait. So these are two newer furnaces. They are bringing in fresh air. Back here, there's a large vent through the wall. We saw it outside. They're bringing in fresh air from outside to use for both combustion air and as part of the ventilation system. You can see our airflow going back here. These are big return vents coming back. It's coming down, blowing down, and that's about all I can tell you at this point. Then we have an electric water heater here. A 2008, the GE water heater. We have a server rack sitting there that I suspect was in one of the other rooms. I don't think you'd put a server in with all this. We have more electrical timers. It's just unfortunate that none of them are marked really what they're controlling. Now I was curious when we were on the roof. We know these are coming back in the exhaust for our furnaces, but we had another flue. It looked like it was for a furnace or something coming up to the roof up there. I'm not quite sure where that's going to. And here we have another commercial square D panel. This one is nice that they have done it, and you can see the heater was probably added later, simply because that's written in and the rest of the label on that is typed. But it's broken down: mechanical room, the corridors, outside south wing lighting, outside receptacles. We have barrels exhaust fan, furnace west, furnace east, hand dryers got their own, lighting for each of the classrooms and that. So all of that is going right now. Come back out and we're going to continue in our clockwise route. Now all these, this is classroom 101. So our classrooms are numbered. We come into 101, and again all these windows are chained so that they'll only open so far. And most of them are missing the cranks, so they can't be opened at all. Now they've done a kind of poor job of putting FRP board on the walls in the lower half. We do have some type of intercom system. Haven't been able to get anything to work. We did see the box in the mechanical room, but the intercom system. Now these two classrooms must have been for the younger kids or something, because it has a bathroom. And you see by the height of the hand dryer, it's one for small children, and the height of the sink. Now we come into room 102, which is also accessible from the hall. So as we go through these, we see FRP coming loose in a lot of places, and that could be from it being empty in here and not well conditioned for some time. We've got lots of holes in the walls from screws and things that were mounted in that. But then we come out, now we have a small little closet here. Looks like maybe it was an afterthought. By the hardware, it had a bifold doors on it. It goes up, it doesn't go to the ceiling because we have a sprinkler head up there. And we had big boards in that on these walls. This wall's got a couple holes in it that need to be patched up. We got the room 103. 103 is kind of a double room. Here you see we had large closets. Again, FRP lower part walls. This room had a TV. And I don't know if they were opened up to be two after the original building or what, but you know, it's definitely two different rooms combined to be one. And again, all of our windows, cranks are missing. These were set up to only allow the windows to open so far. So you couldn't even call any of these egress windows, because it would take an adult to open up those chains. They would need to have some tools. So this is one of our thermostats for our two furnaces that we saw in the mechanical room. And this is our fire exit at the south end of the building. I'm here in the room 105. 105 has the thermostat to the east side of this addition. And as we see, it was kind of really haphazard on the FRP board. It's not consistent throughout any of the rooms. Now this side, maybe they're older children, there's at least one crank here, but again, the windows are chained to prevent them from opening too far. And what's interesting is our heat source is actually coming up from below. We see the vents under the windows. And presumably cooling source for all the new building. We'll come back down the hall. We're in the classroom 106. Again, this is a double wide class. They've opened it through here. Here we still have a lot of working fluorescent lights. Our closets. Looks like they didn't trust anybody with these locks, latches on the doors. What gets, again, disturbing that we've seen in places is kind of like clawing. We haven't found any evidence of an animal. So what's clawing the windows? We have no idea. I would hope that that's not something to do with keeping people in. But as you can see, the clawing is mostly only at the bottom. And quite a bit of it. And here you can kind of see where we go from new to old right through there, and that was our little double door area just before the janitor's closet. And again, holes in the wall to be repaired. We go back through here. There's one more of these rooms, and it is listed as a timeout room. And again, they had a light switch and a door switch. The doors only opened in. And they almost seem to be like little cells. Now this one, by the clips up there, had some type of protection over the lighting and that, but you can see, we go 8 foot up with these FRP panels that appear to have been painted and patched of some sort. And it's a bit hard to believe, but it would appear when they put you in timeout, they put you in timeout. We come here. We're into a room in one of the older buildings, and it looks like we had file cabinets and that sitting there. And here we've got a much different radiator than anywhere else, but we seem to have a lot of the same thing. We have operable windows here, though, that are not chained, and they will open. They are aged, they're dated. They are, believe it or not, thermal panes. And we have another piece of this plexiglass, and what I've kind of figured out here perhaps is that they were cut to fit a certain window and left enough room to put a window air conditioner in. So, well, all kind of strange, but there we go. And then we come back here, we're into the old building. We come back around, and we come into this room here. Now here we are back with a standard radiator under the windows. And you see this room, though, has had FRP put up, but here we've taken out a considerable amount of the ceiling, and we've had to replace at least one joist, and it appears we have charred wood up there, so we may have had a fire in here from the looks of it. We have some charred pieces of wood up in here. See if we can make it show up a little better through here. So we had a fire in here at some point, and ceiling has not been replaced. Been damage to the windowsill here and that. Side windows will open. The middle windows, which should open big and wide, have a chain between them. See if they're hooked up anymore. That one's not, but that one is.